Have you ever considered that your body might be quietly signaling that life is entering its final stage, and that these signs can be so subtle, most families overlook them until the moment is almost gone? It isn't always pain or a dramatic illness. Sometimes it's as ordinary as sleeping more during the day, or suddenly losing interest in a favorite Sunday tradition. Because these changes seem harmless, we often dismiss them, only to have a doctor gently explain that time is short. In this video, I'll share 7 early warnings that hospice experts from respected medical centers say can appear months before the end of life. They are simple to notice once you know what to look for, and recognizing them can bring peace, clarity, and comfort when it matters most. Don't let these quiet messages go unheard. They may be the only way a loved one can tell you what's happening. Before we begin, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, or simply type the word hope if you believe in caring with compassion instead of fear. And if you find this helpful, tap like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss future heart-centered health tips. The first sign is one that often slips past even the most attentive families, because at first glance, it looks like nothing more than ordinary fatigue. But when an older adult begins spending far more hours asleep during the day, or finds themselves wide awake and restless through the night, it may be more than just age catching up. I think of Walter, a 79-year-old from Kentucky, who never missed his favorite afternoon television shows, especially the local baseball replays. Gradually, his wife noticed he would nod off before the first inning had even ended. Within weeks, he was sleeping close to 18 hours a day, then pacing the hallway in the early hours of the morning while the rest of the house was silent. Doctors later explained that his body was entering a different stage, one that can appear in the final months of life. As we grow older, our bodies naturally begin to conserve energy. But when deeper systems such as digestion, circulation, and even brain activity start to wind down, the first noticeable change can be in the sleep-wake cycle. Harvard Medical School notes that the brain's internal clock can begin to misfire, day and night start to blend, and time loses its usual rhythm. It's not an illness to be fixed, but rather a signal to be understood. Missing it means missing the opportunity to adjust care, create comfort, or simply share important moments. Here's a gentle step you can take. Keep a simple notebook and record how many hours they sleep at night and how often they nap during the day. If they consistently sleep more than 15 or 16 hours a day for over a week, speak with their doctor. Recognizing this sign doesn't mean surrender, it means caring with wisdom. Sometimes love is found in sitting quietly beside someone, letting them rest a little longer, and honoring the time you still have together. The second sign is one that quietly unsettles families because it can be so easy to miss. When an older loved one stops showing interest in their favorite meals or gently pushes the plate away after only a few bites, it's tempting to assume they're simply tired or that their taste has changed. But at times, it's a much deeper signal. I think of Margaret, an 80-year-old from Vermont, who had baked her famous blueberry cobbler every Sunday for decades. Warm, fragrant, and always made with care. It was a tradition her children eagerly anticipated. Then, one afternoon, she barely touched her portion. The next week, she didn't mention dessert at all. Within 2 months, she had lost over 15 pounds. Her daughter suspected depression or side effects from medication, but the truth was more difficult. Margaret was entering the final stage of her life, and her body was quietly letting go. Specialists in palliative care explain that as the end of life approaches, the digestive system slows naturally. This isn't sadness or stubbornness, it's biology. Energy is redirected to essential functions. So food is no longer a priority. Favorite dishes may lose their flavor, and familiar smells can become overwhelming. What can you do? Avoid forcing food, which can create discomfort. Instead, offer small portions of soft, comforting options, perhaps a spoonful of mashed sweet potatoes, a cup of ripe berries, or a warm, mild soup. Gently track their intake, without pressure, and speak with a doctor if the change lasts more than a week, especially if weight loss is noticeable. Above all, let the meal be about comfort, not calories. Sometimes, love isn't measured by an empty plate, but by a shared glance, a quiet memory, or simply sitting together while they take a moment to rest. The third sign is one that can be misunderstood, often mistaken for simple loneliness, when in reality it may be part of the body and mind's deeper preparation for the final stage of life. It's easy to overlook, especially when it appears as if someone simply needs a little time alone. But when a person who once thrived on connection, phone calls, family dinners, or chatting on the porch suddenly grows quiet, it may be more than just a passing mood. Take the example of George, an 85-year-old from Maine. For decades, every Saturday evening, he met his old fishing buddies at the local cafe. Rain or shine, he'd arrive with his weathered cap and a pocket full of butterscotch candies to share. Then one weekend, he skipped the gathering. The next, he let his daughter's call go unanswered. Over the following weeks, George stopped attending family lunches, and his visits with neighbors came to an end. When his family asked, he simply said he was tired. But palliative care specialists explain that this kind of social withdrawal isn't always depression. Sometimes, it's the natural inward turn of the mind and heart, a quiet process of letting go, of finding peace within. The risk of misunderstanding this shift is that loved ones may feel rejected or try to push for more interaction, unintentionally creating stress. What the person may truly need is presence without pressure, quiet companionship rather than constant conversation. So, what can you do? Keep the door open. Offer moments, not expectations. A brief hello, a warm hand to hold, sitting quietly in the same room, perhaps listening to music together. And most importantly, don't take it personally. It's not rejection, it's reflection. Sometimes, caring isn't about adding more to the day, but about removing the noise, leaving space for love to settle in quietly. The fourth sign may feel unusual, even a little unsettling at first, but it's far more common than most people realize. If someone you love begins softly speaking to relatives or friends who passed away years ago, or drifts between moments of clear thinking and confusion, don't panic. It does not always point to dementia. Consider Harold, an 86-year-old from South Carolina. He remains sharp in many ways, remembering his grandchildren's birthdays, recalling old folk songs, even debating politics with neighbors. But in the evenings, his daughter sometimes overheard him speaking quietly in the den. At first, she assumed he was on the phone, until she heard him say, "Clara, I know you're here." Clara was his wife, who had died 6 years earlier. Heartbroken, she feared Alzheimer's or severe memory loss. But hospice specialists reassured her that something different was happening. According to neurologists at the Cleveland Clinic, in the later stages of life, the brain may experience a reduction in oxygen levels or changes in how it processes memory and time. This can cause conversations with deceased loved ones or vivid recollections of events from decades ago, told as if they happened yesterday. Here's the beautiful part. These moments can bring peace, offering a gentle bridge between the world we know and the one beyond. The mistake many families make is trying to correct their loved one, saying, "That's not real," which can lead to distress or fear. Instead, sit with them, listen, and if they smile, let them. Ask them to share more. And write these stories down. They may be memories never spoken before, precious gifts wrapped in fragile moments. Recognizing this sign isn't about fixing, it's about honoring. And as we move forward, the next change we'll discuss won't appear in words at all, but in the sudden shift of the body's strength. The fifth sign is one that many families overlook until it becomes impossible to ignore. When an older adult suddenly finds it exhausting to stand up or needs assistance with simple daily tasks they've done for years, like pouring a cup of tea or fastening a shirt, it may be more than just getting older. Take Eleanor, an 82-year-old from Oregon. Every morning, she walked down the driveway to collect her mail and tended to her garden with quiet pride. Then, one spring morning, her son noticed she was struggling to rise from her chair. A few days later, she needed help getting to the bathroom. She hadn't fallen. She wasn't ill, but something had clearly changed. After visiting her doctor, the truth became clearer. Her body was beginning to slow down gently, gradually, and it was showing first in her strength. Experts from the American Geriatric Society explain that in the final months of life, the body often redirects energy away from muscles to preserve vital organs. This means that even with proper rest and nutrition, muscle strength will continue to fade. It's not laziness, and it's not a lack of willpower. It's the body doing what it needs to do, one quiet shift at a time. The danger is that if we don't notice this change, we may push our loved ones too hard, leading to falls, injuries, and deep emotional frustration. Here's what helps start with safety. Remove slippery rugs. Install grab bars near the toilet and shower. And place chairs where they can rest often. Most importantly, adjust your expectations. Let them do what they can, and support what they cannot with kindness, not guilt. As we move to the next sign, the change we'll see won't be in strength at all, but in the way a person breathes. The sixth sign is subtle, yet it can quite literally take your breath away. When someone you care about begins breathing differently, more shallow, more rapid, or with long pauses between breaths, it may not be just the effects of aging. It can be a quiet signal that the body is beginning to slow down on a much deeper level. I think of Samuel, a 79-year-old from North Carolina, a retired firefighter whose strength was once unmatched. His wife, Margaret, noticed a change during his afternoon naps. He would breathe quickly for a short burst, then suddenly stop. She found herself holding her own breath, waiting. Just when she was about to touch his shoulder, he would take a gentle breath again, as if nothing had happened. It unsettled her, but she didn't want to overreact. Doctors later reassured her it wasn't an emergency. The National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization explains that changes in breathing are common during the final months or weeks of life. As the lungs and heart work less efficiently, the body adjusts, conserving energy and shifting its natural rhythms. This can create patterns such as Cheyne-Stokes breathing, where breaths come in clusters followed by pauses. Here's the key: when we don't recognize this as a natural process, we may rush to the hospital or push for treatments that add stress without increasing comfort. Instead, focus on what truly matters: relieving discomfort, creating peace, and simply being present. If you notice this, keep the room calm and quiet. Gently elevate the head with pillows to help airflow. And consider opening a window or using a fan for soothing comfort. Consult a doctor or hospice nurse not to fix the breathing, but to guide care in the gentlest way possible. Up next, we'll explore a sign that appears not in the body, but in the heart, and it can be just as powerful. The seventh sign is easy to miss because it doesn't appear in the body, it shows up in the heart. When someone you love begins speaking about old regrets, giving away treasured belongings, or wanting to reach out to someone they haven't spoken to in years, it may not be random. It can be a quiet sign that they feel something is coming to a close. Take Martin, an 84-year-old from Colorado. One morning, he told his daughter he wanted to call his cousin, a man he hadn't spoken to in nearly 20 years. No one remembered why they had lost touch, but Martin remembered the silence and said, "It's time to fix that." Soon after, He began giving away his old woodworking tools, each with a story. "This one's for Daniel," he said with a smile. He always admired the way I carved with it. His daughter worried he was giving up, but a hospice nurse gently explained that this was part of emotional preparation. According to the National Institute on Aging, many people nearing life's end feel a deep need to resolve what's unfinished, not just in practical matters, but spiritually as well. It helps them let go in peace and offers loved ones a moment of meaning. If this happens, don't dismiss it. Help them make that call. Write that letter or share that memory, and if they wish to give something away, let them. Sometimes, the last gift a person needs isn't medicine, but a moment of peace, a word forgiven, or a legacy passed on. As we come to this moment, let's pause and reflect on everything we've explored and how noticing these quiet signals can transform the way we show love and care. Right to the very end. Sometimes, it's not a dramatic action, but a fleeting glance, a gentle pause, or a silent look that seems to say, "Please, stay a little longer." If we're not truly paying attention, these moments can slip by unnoticed. I think of Helen, a 78-year-old from Minnesota. She was never one to ask for much or complain. But during her final weeks, every time her daughter rose to leave the room, Helen would meet her eyes. There was no fear there, no sadness, just a tender expression, as if hoping her daughter might sit a little while longer. Only later did her daughter realize these looks were her mother's quiet way of saying, "I don't want to be alone right now." Research from Harvard Health and AARP confirms that many older adults, especially in the later stages of illness, may speak less. But their emotional needs do not fade. In fact, they often become stronger. They might stop asking directly for company, yet their eyes and body language can speak with remarkable clarity. The danger of overlooking these silent requests is that we can unintentionally leave them in emotional isolation. Even while standing nearby, the solution is not about finding perfect words or filling the air with conversation. It's about presence. Sit beside them, hold their hand, read aloud from a treasured letter, play a song they once loved. Even 5 minutes of quiet companionship can help someone feel seen, safe, and deeply loved. In the end, it's rarely the grand gestures we remember. It's the little ones, the shared silences, the gentle glances that remind us, without a single word, "I'm still here, and I still need you." As we close, let's gather every message we've shared into one truth. Recognizing these signs is not about fear, it's about love in its purest form. By noticing even the quietest shifts, we open the door to moments of peace, dignity, and connection in life's final chapters. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope today's words reminded you that small, silent signals can hold deep meaning, and that with attention and care, we can bring comfort when it matters most. If something you've heard here touched your heart, I'd be honored to hear your thoughts. You can share your story in the comments, or simply type the word HOPE as a reminder to yourself and to others that none of us walk this path alone. If you found this helpful, please subscribe, tap the notification bell, and share this video with someone who may need it: a friend, a neighbor, or a loved one. Until next time, may your days be gentle, your moments meaningful, and may you always feel surrounded by love, even in the quiet,